athletes showed why they are the best and most remarkable in the world, making a historic clean sweep of the New York City Marathon. Eliud Kipchoge debuted, and there are rumors that I'll leave it to him to say that after the marathon. But an exemplary performance. We have a lot to be proud of as Kenyans tonight. We'll also get into matters culture and tourism, because internationally, when foreigners think culture, they think the Maasai culture. We get into matters the Ma Cultural and Tourism Festival that kicks off on Tuesday all the way to the 9th with the Kajiado governor. So do stay tuned on Sunday Live, because clearly we have plenty in store. Agony as more bodies are retrieved. Death toll in Chesongoch landslide in Elgeyo Marakwet hits 26, and 25 more people still missing. It was a sham. Tanzania opposition party Chadema rejects Tanzania election results, says no credible polls took place.
Ikawapea namba na phone namba. Sasa wakalijisa. Sasa mwisho sasa pesa yangu ilipotea hivyo.
String of victims. More Kenyans stream to share their experience on how fraudsters asked to assist register for SHA only to steal money from them.
The 4.3 billion has been paid, the 2.7 billion has been paid. So government has shown good faith and commitment.
Lectures strike deadlock. Education CS Ogamba pleads with lecturers to accept pay offer to end the 48 days long paralysis in public universities. Tonight, I am in the esteemed company of Liz Otieno, our sign language interpreter. It was a Kenyan masterclass on the streets of New York as the country's finest distance runners delivered a historic clean sweep in both the men's and women's races. The men's race came down to a heart-stopping photo finish, with Benson Kipruto edging compatriot Alexander Mutiso by a whisker to claim his maiden New York title in 2 hours, 8 minutes and 9 seconds. Mutiso clocked just 300ths of a second later, while Albert Korir sealed an all-Kenyan podium 47 seconds adrift. Marathon legend Eliud Kipchoge settled for 17th place, and in the women's race, Hellen Obiri was simply unstoppable, obliterating the course record by nearly 3 minutes to reclaim the crown she won 2 years ago. The double world champion unleashed a devastating sprint in the final kilometer to shake off Sharon Lokedi, finishing in 2 hours, 19 minutes and 51 seconds. Lokedi crossed 16 seconds later, with defending champion Sheila Chepkirui wrapping up a Kenyan 1-2-3 in 2 hours, 20 minutes and 24 seconds.
Sharon Lokedi also 2 minutes under the course record. Still, it'll be a Kenyan sweep for the third consecutive time, and Hellen Obiri.
All right, from New York to the country Kenya, more specifically Elgeyo Marakwet County, and the death toll in the Chesongoch landslide in Elgeyo Marakwet has risen to 26. This is after 4 more bodies were retrieved during the ongoing rescue mission on Sunday. Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen has confirmed that evacuation of affected families to safer ground has commenced. Safin Acheng Ouma with the latest update of a tragedy that has thrown several families into mourning.
Chesongoch area in Kerio Valley, Elgeyo Marakwet County, an unfortunate aftermath of a landslide that left immeasurable destruction after a heavy downpour on Friday night, leaving several families drowning in sorrow. Speaking on the second day of the search and rescue mission, Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen confirmed that the death toll has hit 26.
Tumepoteza 26 people ambao wamepatikana. Pia tumeambiwa ya kwamba watu 25 bado wamepotea. Na watu 26 ni wale ambao wamepelekwa kutibiwa hospitali.
Those who have been injured, the government of Kenya is going to pay all the hospital bills. The government of Kenya is going to stand with all these families who are grieving at the moment to ensure we have a proper and decent send-off.
CS Murkomen commended the multi-sectoral collaboration in the rescue and relief efforts spearheaded by the military, Kenya Police and the Kenya Red Cross.
Hii helikopta ya police na helikopta ya army itabaki hapa kusaidia kuhakikisha chakula imefika na kuhakikisha for any emergency yenye iko mpaka tuone kwamba barabara imefunguka inaweza kufikisha chakula, na tumeconsult Kenya National Examination Council. Ile exam pahali penye exam haiwezi fika, ndege imewekwa tayari Eldoret yenye itafikisha mtihani kwa sehemu zote ambazo tunaweza kufikisha.
The government has commenced distribution of foodstuff and other humanitarian assistance to the affected families.
The State Department for Special Programs, we've been able to distribute hundreds of bags of rice, bags of beans, blankets, mattresses, soap.
Hii kazi tusaidiane mpaka hii maisha ya hawa watu irudi normal. Mpaka tujaribu kuwasaidia mpaka hata na makao.
The operation continues tomorrow with plans already underway to evacuate the affected families to safer grounds.
It is important that all of us support conservation measures because you can see the people who are affected are downstream, but the activities of upstream are the ones that have caused this situation.
Safin Acheng Omar, Citizen TV.
To Trans Nzoia now, and more than 3,000 families in Kapomboy, Ward, Kwanza constituency, have been displaced after River Sabwani burst its banks due to ongoing heavy rain in the area. The flooding has submerged homes and farms, leaving residents stranded and homeless. The residents are appealing for humanitarian support and evacuation to higher ground.
At a glance, one would easily mistake these flood waters for a lake, but these are the results of the heavy rains that has been pounding various parts of the country, leaving a trail of pain, loss and destruction in its wake. In Namanjalala area, residents take stock of the losses they have incurred after the rain swept away their farms, wiping out their only source of livelihood. Trouble started when River Sabwani burst its banks due to the ongoing heavy rains in the area.
Hii tatizo lilianza kitambo tangu tuishi mahali hapa. Tumelilia serikali ikakuja ikatuundia daiki. Na hiyo daiki ijamalisiwa, tumepatwa na hasara, mboga zimeenda. Chakula ambayo ilikuwa kwa nyumba imelowa na maji, na hata hatuna penye tunaweza toa tuanike ili ya kwamba tukapate kukula.
Mto Sabwani livunja ukingo wake, sasa maji yametuingilia kwa nyumba. Vile tuko hivi tumekaa tu kando, hata hatujui tufanye nini.
Tutaki kupoteza watoto wetu, hataki kupoteza wananchi wetu. Kama hapa kuna shule, watoto wameenda shule asubuhi, sasa hivi maji yamejaa, watapitia wapi wakirudi?
The residents have accused the county government of failing to complete the construction of dikes in the area, a factor they blame for the flooding.
Tungelipenda pia kuona viongozi wale tuliowachagua wenye wako kwa serikali na wale wako kwa serikali ya kaunti waje hapo mashinani waweze kusikiliza hawa kinanga mama na hawa wazee waelekeze.
Almost 3,000 families kutoka kule juu Kapomboi mpaka huku na Manjalala zimeathirika. Tuna vacate watu kutoka kwa manyumba zao waende safe places. And again tunashirikiana na other partners. Red Cross wako kwa ground kuensure kwamba we create camps ili watu wetu wakuwe safeguarded.
The government has deployed a multi-agency team to respond to the devastating impact of heavy rains, which has caused significant loss of life and property damage. The team, comprising of National Government Administration officers, the National Police Service, the Kenya Red Cross and relevant ministries, will coordinate response, surveillance and humanitarian assistance across the affected counties. The latest report by the weatherman warns that rainfall is expected expected across many regions with isolated heavy showers likely in some areas for the next couple of days. Mary Mwoki, Citizen TV.
A day after Samia Suluhu Hassan was declared winner by the country's Electoral Commission, the opposition party, Chadema, has rejected the poll results, terming the election a sham. Meanwhile, Pope Leo XIV has called for dialogue in Tanzania, condemning violence. This as the Mo Ibrahim Foundation, among other organizations, say the situation in Tanzania remains a growing concern following violence in the aftermath of the polls. With more is Ayub Abdikadir.
The main opposition party of Democracy and Development, Chadema, whose leader Tundu Lissu is on trial for treason, has rejected the outcome, saying in its first statement since the polls that the outcome is a coup against the people of Tanzania, who have been denied the right to choose their leaders, and that it does not recognize Samia Suluhu as the president-elect, appealing to the international community to not recognize her as the leader of Tanzania. Several other organizations have raised concerns with the excessive use of force against demonstrators. Madam President, this is not acceptable. The Mo Ibrahim Foundation called President Suluhu's first test at the ballot an authoritarian turn, similar in taste to that of her predecessor John Magufuli, in locking up opposition members and excluding their parties from the contest. Questioning the legitimacy of the outcome, stating in its statements while Suluhu's win is neither fair nor legitimate, the anger in the street is understandable, unexpected, citing the Sudan situation, which it said is a growing tragedy and that Tanzania should not take that course. The African Union chairperson Mahmoud Ali Yusuf congratulated President Samia Suluhu and regretted the loss of lives during the post-election demonstrations, saying it's important to uphold fundamental rights and freedoms, including the right to peaceful assembly and expression. The European Union in a statement also expressed concern, stating that the post-election violence, internet shutdown, as well as reports of irregularities in the election process in some places and the large number of fatalities and significant injuries are of extreme concern. Brussels calling for the release of all detained politicians and for a transparent, fair trial for those arrested on a sound legal basis, and for swift and thorough investigations into all reported incidents of abductions, disappearances and violence.
The people have already shown they are fed up. They are saying no. We saw thousands on the streets. Even with the internet shut down, we are still able to get those images. So is the question, if Tanzania is, the leadership in Tanzania is silent, why is the sub-region and region of Africa silent?
Demonstrations in the aftermath of the polls have tested Tanzania's much-touted stability, becoming the next hub for youth-led demonstrations calling for good governance, a year after taking the Kenyan space by storm. Ayub Abdikadir, Citizen TV.
Now, another day after Citizen TV aired a report on the arrest of fraudsters posing as SHA health insurance agents and conning Kenyans of their money through fake registration, more victims have emerged. More Kenyans have recorded statements with police on how they were conned of their money by fraudsters posing as SHA employees. Maria Nyambura has that report.
Lucy Wanjeri Gikonyo, a 61-year-old resident of Kabazi, Subukia in Nakuru County, is among the latest victims of the SHA scam. 4 months since she was defrauded, the memory remains fresh.
Sasa wakanipatilia hapo. Sasa wakasema wao wanaregister SHA. Nikaambia mimi, nikaongea nao nikaambia mimi sitaki SHA juu SHA inalipisha pesa mwaka mzima. Akaniambia hapana hivyo mam. Unalipa pole pole. Sasa kuna mwanaume alikuwa pandile mwenye alikuwa na driver. Madam mwingine alikuwa pandigi akaja mama kuja nikuonyeshe. Sasa mimi nikakuwa kwa mtego nikaenda nini? Kwa mama, kwa hiyo msichana.
Her experience echoes that of Ezekiel Mwangi from Kabatini Bahati constituency.
Niliona hiyo gari ikaniita pale kwa barabara, alafu nikajitokezea mimi mwenyewe, nikakuta hiyo madam na madriver na kuna wengine walikuwa nyuma. Mimi naweza tambua hata wakati huu, huyo madam mwenye tulikuwa tukiongea naye aliniambia ametoka Kiruguja na ameajiriwa kazi na serikali na anaenda field akiandikisha watu kwa SHA.
Lucy Gikonyo lost 269,000 shillings, money she had saved in her M-Shwari and M-Pesa accounts. The fraudsters used similar tactics on each victim, redirecting funds to their own accounts. Both Lucy and Ezekiel filed complaints at Kyogoine Police Station in Bahati and Central Police Station in Nakuru East.
Niuliza hiyo ID number, si nikuregister, unaregister, si lazima uwapee na ID number. Nikawapea namba na phone number. Sasa wakarejista. Sasa mwisho sasa pesa yangu ilipotea hivyo. Sasa kurudi kuangalia line wametoa, pesa yangu imeenda hivyo, nikapata sina line na kama sina line sina pesa.
Nikaitwa na watu pale wako na gari lakini wako na nguo za SHA. Iko na blue hapa na nimeandikishwa hapa SHA. Kuna msichana mwingine mweupe, msichana mweupe kama mzungu ameniandikisha. Nikamwambia buleta hiyo. Akanionyesha makaratasi. Nikamwambia baba Sami, umekon. Mzee wangu umekon. Akaniambia hapana. Nikamwambia umekon. Hawa ameenda na tutajua baadaye.
With the suspects now in custody, Lucy and Ezekiel remain hopeful that justice will be served. Marian Nyambura, Citizen TV.
On to matters education now, and the Cabinet Secretary, Julius Migos Ogamba, has once again made a passionate appeal to university dons to accept the phased payment of arrears amounting to 7.9 billion shillings. Speaking in Mombasa County, Ogamba said the government has already shown goodwill in settling the arrears and called on the striking lecturers to call off their strike, which he says is causing harm to the higher education sector. As you'll hear now from Laura Otieno, students are still caught in limbo as it remains unclear when the stalemate will be resolved.
Solidarity forever for the union.
48 days since university dons downed their tools demanding the payment of arrears captured in the 2017-2021 collective bargaining agreement, Education CS Migos Ogamba has made an appeal to the lecturers to loosen the chokehold on the higher education sector.
No jokes. We are not joking, yeah?
Ogamba detailing the commitment shown by government, terming the first payment proposal as the best deal available.
The 4.3 billion has been paid, the 2.7 billion has been paid. So government has shown good faith and commitment to settle these historical debts, which are not a debt that was incurred by the Kenya Kwanza administration. It was incurred before.
Dismissing calls for his resignation, Ogamba also emphasized the need for dialogue in resolving stalemates within the education sector.
We've done it with the other unions, we've done it with KUPPET, we've done it with NAT, and everything is settled. And we will be able to do it with WASU. All we're asking them is for them to come to the table, look at the realities of the current situation, and accept the offer that the government has put on the table, because it is the best offer.
Citing both academic and financial strife, students in public universities have also called on both sides to call a ceasefire to enable the continuation of the academic calendar.
I have been in TUM for 5 years, and this has been my 4th strike in 5 years. And it has been so alarming that every year we have to disorient our semesters. I was yet to finish school in April, but as things are going, apparently the earliest that I can finish school is August, and that's a 4 month difference, which I would have been doing internship and gaining hands-on experience that would help me in my day-to-day activities.
The university's academic staff union had on Friday rejected the government's offer to pay the 7.9 billion shillings arrears in phases, citing that the payment must be done in a lump sum. Laura Otieno, Citizen TV.
President William Ruto has defended his affordable housing program, saying it is the best solution to land subdivision that has hard food production across the country. Speaking in Vihiga County at the end of a 4-day tour of the western region, Ruto said the projects will provide permanent housing while preserving farmland for agriculture. Willie Lusige has those details.
President William Ruto has concluded his 4-day tour of Western Region in Vihiga County. In addition to donating Kenyan shillings 50 million to the African Divine Church for the construction of its headquarters in Vihiga, the president also unveiled several development projects. Ruto defended his affordable housing program, saying it is designed to reduce excessive land subdivision that has rendered many farms unproductive.
Kupata mtu iko na eka 20 hapa ni kazi ngumu. Kila mtu eka 2, eka 3, eka 5, eka 3 namna hiyo. Tukiendelea kukatakata mashamba hivyo, mwisho tutakosa mahali ya kuzalisha chakula.
The president said continuous land fragmentation for housing has diminished farmland across the country.
Uko na eka 2, badala ya kukata eka 1 ati unapatia kijana, waacha kijana aende aishi nyumba huko town. Sisi tuendelee kulima hapo, tuzalishe chakula. Tukiendelea kukatakata mashamba Kenya hii, mwisho watu wanaongezeka, wananchi wanaongezeka, mahali ya kulima chakula inakuwa ndogo na mwisho tutakwama.
ODM leaders accompanying the president vow to ensure their party remains part of the broad-based government and pledge to support Ruto's 2027 re-election bid.
We as a community are now certified orphans. And I've never seen any orphan giving conditionalities. And therefore our quest to work with you and to lend you support is both unequivocal and unconditional.
Mimi nitakuwa sasa director ya 2 term. Na usitishwe na vijana dogo. At my age now, I've done politics in this country. If vijana dogo hapa kwa ODM, endeni polepole.
Western Kenya leaders reiterated their unity and pledged full support for President Ruto.
Tumekubaliana kwa kauli moja kwamba sisi tutakuunga mkono na tuko kwa broad-based government.
Na wengine wanakuja na hadithi za jaba kumondoa kwake. Do not make the mistake of walking away from government because of petty issues. I'm telling you, when you walk away, the next person will occupy it very fast.
Willie Lusige, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
Across the political aisle, former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has called on the electorate in Mount Kenya to carefully consider the qualities and values of the leaders they elect, urging them to move beyond political noise and seek out leaders with true substance. Gachagua, speaking for the first time publicly since Raila Odinga's death, eulogized the late political giant as a leader to be admired, someone who built his political empire with a team of sharp, strategic minds. Melito Letenges has more.
Former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has publicly praised the late former Prime Minister Raila Odinga for the first time since his passing, describing him as a leader whose example should be emulated. Speaking at the Ngemi Shiawado Festival, a cultural gathering of Central Kenya's lawyers celebrating their heritage, Gachagua pointed out what he called a leadership vacuum in Mount Kenya, urging the region to rethink the quality of leaders it elects.
Look at the political party that he built called ODM. A strong political party that though he has never been elected president, he is able to get into every government and get what he wants.
He also pointed out that Raila's success was not just his own, but was driven by a team of professionals around him.
All the legislators are top-notch lawyers. These are the people who have protected Raila Odinga for 30 years. Tom Ojieda, Okongo Mgeni, Mohamed Faki, and Babu Owino. Great minds. Then nyinyi munanipatia Kawanjiko wa Matinga wa Makeki
In his speech, Gachagua also voiced his frustrations with President William Ruto's administration, accusing the government of sidelining Mount Kenya in development projects since their fallout.
Deep trouble. We are under persecution by Githinji. Our community faces extinction. Our businesses have been ruined. Our agriculture, our tea, our coffee has been ruined.
Meanwhile, Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka urged young professionals to engage more in the political process, calling for increased involvement from the country's youth.
In addition, for going for those elected positions, do also determine to make sure there will be no rigging, regardless of the fact that we have a Ruto-led IEBC.
On accusations of fanning tribalism, Gachagua dismissed the claims as part of a smear campaign orchestrated by those in government aimed at dividing and weakening Mount Kenya. Melita Oletenges, Citizen TV.
One report by Melita Oletenges leads us up to our first break on Sunday Live. But on the other side, we delve into matters more culture. Do talk to us. The X handles are at Obarus, at Citizen TV Kenya, across all digital platforms. And the SMS line is 22422. They'll be running right at the bottom of your screen. The hashtag is Citizen Sunday Live. I'll be joined by the governor of Kajiado County, Joseph Olelenku, on the other side. From culture to cash. On a special feature tonight, we tell you how Maasai women and youth are transforming their lives through beadwork.
Make your home a signature home. Introducing Lifestyle Steel Stone Coated Roofing Tiles, where roofing excellence is backed by a lifetime guarantee from Mabati Rolling Mills.
We've been working with Boost through a fund called Seed Stars Africa, and that capital has been used to finance additional infrastructure. So since we started talking to Boost Africa, we've expanded our service from several areas of Nairobi. We've expanded into Mombasa, we expanded into other cities like Nakuru and Eldoret, and beyond that we're looking at how do we take the service we're offering here in Kenya and take it into other African countries.
Majina naitwa Okulurobi, mimi ni membership ya Kimusiku Sacco. Nilijoin 7 years back. Sacco nilikuwa nimeambiwa na rafiki yangu, amekuwa kwa hiyo Sacco for a long time. So akani advise nika-join Sacco, nikaweka shares kitu miezi 6. Niliqualify, nika decide ku apply loan. Vile walinipea loan, decide kununua nduthi yangu. So nashukuru sana kwa Sacco. Sacco ni mzuri, inasaidia.
Lea Premium Flour, nurturing the world. Available in a store near you. We take risks from the moment we are born. Our first steps carry.
To soothe irritated and dry skin, Vaseline's healing power is able to penetrate beneath the surface of the skin. This is because Vaseline is made with unique blends of waxes and oils that melt into the spaces between skin cells. This promotes natural moisture regulation to deliver effective skin protection against dryness. Use Vaseline because it is the first step to maintaining natural, healthy-looking skin.
Dubai, a city of endless possibilities. Marvel at the skylines from the top of Burj Khalifa. Shop in world-class malls, dine under the stars, and explore the desert on an unforgettable safari. Cruise along the creek at sunset and let the rhythm of the city inspire you. Whether you're traveling solo, with a partner, or with friends, Dubai is yours to discover. Enjoy 4 unforgettable nights with View Travel from only $815 per person sharing. Book today and enjoy the ease of Lipa Pole Pole. Call 0703-254-254 or visit viewtravel.com. View Travel. Dream, explore, discover.
Whenever you fly to space or take your first step as baby, SoftCare always stays with you.
New SoftCare Space Series is rooted from space technology. Keeps you dry and comfortable for 12 hours long. Offers you the most effective protection during your space journey.
SoftCare. Protect your leap.
Kote nchini mbele tuendelee, mbele Kenya twende mbele,
Kenya twende mbele. NCBA. Go for it.
New Downy refill pouches, lasting longer than expensive perfumes. Cut, store, and no need to add water. Serve with a Downy refill.
Explore the nature and create from it. The spirit of inventors leads to the inspiration for new technology. By drawing nature's energy, we create the extraction tech. Small in size, huge in power. Millions of microcapsules condense the essence of nature. Join us, Cleasoft Invent for Life.
Whenever you fly to space or take your first step as baby, SoftCare always stays with you.
New SoftCare Space Series is rooted from space technology. Keeps you dry and comfortable for 12 hours long. Offers you the most effective protection during your space journey.
SoftCare. Protect your leap.
All eyes on me.
View sasa ndio nyumbani kwa the best local dramas.
Nataka ripoti ya Hans pamoja na mkewe.
Comedy za kuvunja mbavu. Telenovela bora zaidi kwa lugha yako.
Ana area ina prita. Tokendo kimora mare wi mora.
Na sasa una nafasi ya kushinda zawadi nono ndani ya promotion kubwa ya Jipange na View sasa.
Jipange ushinde na View sasa.
Shinda 50,000 kila siku, $500,000 kila wiki na grand prize ya 2 million shillings.
Wow.
Ingia kwa View sasa hivi kwa kupitia paybill 724177 au tembelea viewsasa.com. Weka nambari yako ya simu kama akaunti yako. Kisha weka 50 bob tu na upate content na point na uende kama mshindi. Ingia mara nyingi uwezavyo. Kila ukiingia kwa View sasa, unaongeza nafasi yako ya kushinda. Imeidhinishwa na BCLB number.
Whenever I feel bad, I always feel like shouting, I miss you, Mom! I need you so much!
Thank you for staying with us on Sunday Live. Tonight, on our special feature, Culture to Cash, Citizen TV highlights the stories of women and youth from the Ma community who are transforming their lives, creating livelihoods through beadwork sold both locally and internationally. Known for its deep cultural roots, the Ma community is now leveraging tradition to boost business and build an enabling environment for others to thrive. As we'll hear now from Marianne Nyam Samburu, the third edition of the Ma Cultural Festival, slated to take place in Kajiado County from November the 4th, is a timely opportunity to inject economic efficiency into this growing value chain.
As the sun rises slowly over the hills of Kajiado, a new day dawns. Our journey to Nyonyori Kekonyokie ward begins. We are here to meet Grace Salau, a mother of 6 and a passionate beadworker. Her morning routine starts with a spot check on her goats, scanning for limps or scratches. Once satisfied, she leads them to the grazing fields, then returns home, settles on a woven mat, and begins threading beads. Today, she's joined by members of the Inyonyori Bead Cooperative Society.
This work has really helped me. I pay school fees for my children, buy food and clothes, and even save through our cooperative.
Grace explains how joining a cooperative has offered her a sustainable business, creating a job that might otherwise be out of reach.
The money we save earns us returns based on our shares. And when you need a loan, you get it. You just repay with interest.
In Kimana area, Kajiado County, women from the Naropil Marketing Cooperative Society are busy with beadwork. Each stitch counts, the final product destined for local and international markets. As they work, they sing traditional songs to strengthen their bond, leaving them empowered.
Tumeanza 2016 hii kazi na ametupeleka mbali. Tumesomesha watoto kwa sababu ya beadwork au maziwa yetu. Sisi tumeinuka kwa sababu ya beadwork na tumeona faida ya kazi yetu.
Even as more women turn to cooperatives to sustain their livelihoods, challenges persist. Poor market access and lack of raw materials hinder progress.
Hii kazi ya beads, tumekuja kugundua ya kuwa Kenya hawatengenezi beads. Hakuna factory katika Kenya ambayo inatengeneza beads. Zinakuwa imported kutoka nchi za nje. Na ukijaribu kuangalia ni jamii ya Kihindi ambao wako na hizo kazi, zile monopolies wanatumia kusafirisha ama kuingiza hizo beads, sisi hatujui. Kwa hivyo tunachukua kutoka kwao. Kwa hivyo kama Kenya yetu, serikali kuu ingetuconsider, ingetutafutia namna ya kupata hizo materials ama iweke factory ya kutengeneza beads katika nchi yetu ya Kenya.
Some of the skills are pole they're going away with the people who used to make them. So now we have a challenge of trying to catch up with what was being made in the past, the very traditional way of making things. But so we are catching up. We are doing well with that.
The Ma Cultural Festival, held annually across Ma counties, Narok, Kajiado and Samburu, is providing a ray of hope for these women. Through this initiative, access to markets is guaranteed. The third edition kicks off in Kajiado County on November 4th, once more bringing endless opportunities.
Local tourism is attracted by the fact that visitors come to experience identity and different cultures. So skills make that attraction sustainable. So we have to be demand-driven. We have to impart or develop skills that will respond to developing new experience and making this experience be known.
Our women have also decent way of selling their wares. You know, we have a number of them that are hawkers, and we are discouraging that. We are working closely as a government with other organizations to make sure that these women do also decent business. We are putting up ushanga sheds in different locations, strategic locations. We are also even doing, some of them have had to go through training, courtesy of organizations like ALO.
Policymakers are being challenged to create an enabling environment for bead workers to thrive and to elevate culture to cash into the international sphere.
So that's where ILO comes in terms of looking at, decent work, because most of the things are very informal. But how do the Maasai women benefit from this? How do you make it economical, viable? How do you present it as an investment case to showcase? We've seen what culture has done in other communities in other regions, and one that quickly comes to my mind is the Swaziland reed dance.
But we want to go further now, and our union is reaching out to those organizations so that the whole idea is not really pushing for their terms and conditions of service, but really to make sure that there's a conducive working environment. The government also, the taxes they are paying are also friendly or even be exempted. But ideally, and being somebody from a cultural community, I think the family, the women are doing so well. It's only that the government now needs to motivate, the government needs to bring in incentive.
From the heart of Kajiado to fashion runways and artisan markets across the world, Maasai women are rewriting the story of beadwork. These creations are not just a cultural symbol, but they are powering businesses and feeding families. Miriam Nyambura, Citizen TV in Kisamis, Kajiado County.
All right, what a beautiful piece by Miriam Nyambura there. As promised, I'm now joined by the Kajiado Governor, Joseph Ole Lenku. Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
I see you are also representing the culture as Miriam was there.
Yes.
In that special report.
Today is to talk Maasai issues by Maasai himself, and I'm sure you've not had an opportunity to talk to us about our culture, so you have the opportunity now.
Yes, I do.
Here we come.
Here you come. All right, so... when we started the news hour, I was saying our athletes, you saw the New York City Marathon.
We're very
Clean
proud.
Sweep.
That is Kenya for you. We're very proud Kenyans.
Yeah.
And congratulations to our athletes.
Men and women's races, historic. So I was saying, aside from athletics, what Kenya is known for is the Maasai culture, because in that report Miriam talked about seeing the Maasai beads and the Maasai blanket on runways internationally. What do you think it is about your culture that has stood the test of time?
If you talk to people outside Kenya, in Europe, in the Americas and all that, about Kenya, they will tell you they either know the Maasai or the athletes. So really, the Maasai are the face of Kenya, and historically Kenya was like Maasai land. The story of Joseph Thompson, the early explorers, telling their mother countries that if you want to rule Kenya, you must subdue the Maasai. So Kenya and Maasai land are one and the same thing. And we are very proud that we've been able to represent everybody with regards to culture. And we are now taking our culture a notch higher. As you are aware, we are going to the Amboseli on the 4th to the 8th of November to celebrate our culture, to talk about it, but also to dollarize it. A lot of people on their side are making money on this culture. In tourism, you hear Maasai market and Maasais are not there. It is time for the Maasais to take the space of this culture to make it like their cash crop. If you look at each community, they have a cash crop, either coffee, milk, tea, and there is an appropriate support system by government to that cash crop. But now you have seen that our beads are going the world. They are marketing our country. They are supporting our tourism. But the way you have a coffee board or a tea board or a dairy board, you have nothing from government that support Ushanga. There is a conversation around Ushanga initiative, but it has not reached a level where it is properly positioned, it is marketed, and the operators benefit from it. As the Ma Nation, the Maasai people, we began this conversation in Masai Mara in 2023. We took it to Samburu National Game Reserve in 2024. We are now going to Amboseli in 2025 to celebrate our culture to share with the Kenyans, but also to position it rightly as a product for our community. And it is already showing signs that it can work. It just requires the government support. At the county levels, we are working on it. We need the national government system like our Shanka board, so that it is properly marketed, supported for it to benefit the operator. So I want to welcome Kenyans to Amboseli, the 4th to the 8th, with the president coming on the 8th, and it is going to be a double celebration. We have their culture to celebrate, but also that is the time the president is correcting a historical injustice of returning Amboseli to the county government. An injustice that happened somewhere along the way and position Amboseli wrongly as a national park. I think it's important for me to say the distinction between a national park and a game reserve. In the delineation of national parks and game reserve in the 1940s, Amboseli and Mara were called the Southern Game Reserve, and they were one. But at independence, the County Council of Narok and the County Council of Kajiado had their own parks. There was a squabble between the then Minister Oloitiptip from Kajiado and the chairman of Olkejuado County Council, Olelegis. In their squabble, the national government felt like the park is being run down, and then the status was changed. But since then, to date, Maasais have been petitioning the national government that Amboseli is not a national park, it's a game reserve. President Kibaki in 2005 said, no, this is a historical injustice, it must be returned to the Maasai. To the best of our knowledge, we believe, and very strongly so, that Kibaki went to be with the Lord knowing he gave the Maasai back their Amboseli. We are happy that President Ruto is actualizing that. And what is this national park and game reserve? A national park is an area set aside for wildlife and wildlife only. Normally, they will even be fenced off. A game reserve is an ecosystem that is shared by the community and the wildlife. If you fence off Amboseli, you kill it because the wildlife are in the group ranches or in community land. Amboseli is just a small wetland where wildlife come to drink water. So to continue to position it as a national government and it is the community supporting it is wrong. But we want as a county government of Kajiado to go even a notch higher and create what is now called a third generation park. A third generation park considers three factors: the environment or the ecosystem, the wildlife, and community livelihoods. If you look at the current model of conservation, it only focuses on wildlife with total disregard to the environment and with no consideration to the neighboring communities. It was a colonial thinking that we are coming to protect this wildlife from these Africans. These Africans who leave this wildlife, they will kill them. We need helicopters, we need guns. It is wrong because they found these communities with the wildlife. And therefore, a wedge was put between the communities and their wildlife. So now the community see the wildlife near Serikali, near KWS or Yetu, then you hear human-wildlife conflict. Now we want to return to tell the people, these are your wildlife. This proceeds from wildlife is supporting your water, supporting your education. It is even supporting your livelihood like livestock rearing and dairy and all that. But in return, give this wildlife space to roam. These are your wildlife. The way your cows is yours, this is also yours. This is your heritage. And I am sure along the way, Amboseli will set the pace for a new look into conservation. Unless you bring the communities that host this wildlife to the center of conservation, unless you plow substantial resources back to those ecosystems, there is no future for the wildlife, and then we'll lose our wonderful heritage. So we are happy that this is happening. We congratulate the president for the courage. The Maa Nation is happy, and I'm sure Kenyans along the way will also appreciate that this is an injustice that has been corrected.
All right, so in realizing this third generation park,
yes.
What changes do you intend to make?
First of all, the Maa community has very graciously allowed an additional 1 million acres into the ecosystem to allow more roaming space. So one of the big changes that's going to be is that there's going to be more space for wildlife and less human-wildlife conflict. In addition, the communities, like the Maasai here now, they are selling their beads at the periphery. They will be brought to the center. So that at the gates, there will be bead shop, there will be communities trading there, and therefore they'll also have a say. But also, in extreme dry spells, some areas in Amboseli will always remain water points. So even their wildlife will also, their livestock will have an opportunity to drink water from the park, because it is going to be a shared resource. Community ownership is very critical for sustainability. We are creating an organization as the county government, model on the lines of KWS, so that it is not managed from the county headquarters. It is managed from the ecosystem itself. And I had said earlier, and I want to emphasize that 3 key things must happen. The ecosystem, that is the habitat. So enlarging the habitat will work well. Community ownership will reduce the human-wildlife conflict. Support from this money coming from wildlife to the communities, so that these communities have more money for their bursaries, have more money for water, have money for their dispensaries, because the money will be shared, that the county government will have a fraction, the ecosystem will have a fraction, and the community will have a fraction. Currently, from even open conversation, Amboseli has been carrying everybody in KWS. We are happy that the national government is seized of the need to allocate KWS more money from the exchequer to support parks that are not sustaining. But now the Amboseli community, the Amboseli ecosystem will now benefit from this wildlife. Then there will be true conservation. Then you don't have to use extreme security to protect this wildlife, because they will be at home with their community. That is the essence of our third generation park.
All right. I know you've talked about human-wildlife conflict that has been an existential threat, right?
Yes.
But so is something such as climate change.
Yes.
Which I presume also affects the kind of wildlife and the numbers that we see in these parks. What's your long-term plan on that?
There was an argument one time, because if you visited Amboseli lately, you'll find that Amboseli has become like a semi-desert. The elephant population has increased substantially, and they have destroyed all the trees. There is no vegetation. Then there were 2 research scientists who said, what is causing this problem? One said, by removing livestock, which are carriers of some seeds, of some plants, then you lose the plants. Another one said, no, if you fenced off an area, you'll see the trees regenerating. And they did the test. So by just fencing and protecting areas from some of these elephants, then the forest or the trees will come back. But it was very difficult to do that without the support of the community, because the roaming space was shrinking. So by communities opening space for wildlife to roam, we can fence off some areas, have them regenerate, open it up, bring the animal, fence another area, and in a short period, we will have Amboseli in the right shape. The way it is now, it looks very untidy. It looks completely overrun. It has no vegetation. And so we want to restore the vegetation through that regeneration and just basic fencing. And then we will, in a small way, combat this climate change. By allowing resources to go to the community from this wildlife, we want to encourage our communities that in extreme dry spells, they do feedlots to avoid their livestock going to graze haphazardly. In so doing, we'll only leave the rangelands for either to regenerate or for the wildlife until the rain season comes. There is a new research that the Maasais had a pattern of grazing, and environment protection, where in the dry period, you move to a certain point. When it is the rain season, you come to this area. And because of this disorder and lack of proper planning, that was interrupted. We want to return that to say, because we call it a Olopololi system. This is the period where we live during the rain season. In normal dry spells, you can move to this area. In extreme drought situation, you can do feedlotting. You don't have to compete with the wildlife in the open rangelands. And in so doing, we can also remove tourists from the center to say your game drives, you can only, if you have, say, 3 days in the park, you do in the current park situation 1 day, You go to this conservancy another day, you go to this area another day, then you remove extreme, center, because currently everybody is at the center, everybody is at the park, and the park is just dying. So we are sure, not even hopeful, we are sure that this will restore the glory of Amboseli.
All right. So let me redirect you back to the festival.
Yes.
What can we expect to experience? What makes it stand out?
First of all, you can see, even from the short conversation Nyambura had with the Maasai, that our culture is beautiful. So you will enjoy that beauty. But also, because we are going to have Maasai representation from across the entire Kenya, from Marsabit to Samburu to Laikipia to Nakuru, Narok, Kajiado, everywhere, we'll also have a conversation to tell these people the value of this culture. If you look at our traditions, and we have under UNESCO, UNESCO say there are 3 aspects of the Maa culture that need to be safeguarded. Mm-hmm. Previously, the Maasai community have a time when the young boys are prepared to become men. We call it Enkipata. Mm-hmm. We have a time when the young men are circumcised and they become Morans. And that period will add some value, the discipline, protecting community, taking orders from the elders, and all that. We are complaining as a country about our young people. The loss of our young people is because our young people have no culture to follow. So they have to depend on YouTube, to depend on what is trending, to depend on what is this. We want to say we want to keep our culture. It serves us right, but we now want to introduce important aspects that are inevitable. One is education. Historically, when the colonialists came, removed the masses from the highlands, which they call the White Highlands, and took us to what they call closed districts. Narok and Kajiado were called closed districts. This closed district basically condemned Maasais to stay in that environment with total regard to water, to schools, to hospital, and they were told just practice your culture. So it was big-time discrimination. You never hear a mission school in Maasai land. You never heard, so they say Maasais don't want to go to school. If education is compulsory, it is by law and order that everybody must go to school. Why were Maasais left without going to school? I went to a school which was not a boys' school, where we had no girls in school, because those days the girls were not going to school. It was discrimination. So we want now to tell our people, everybody must go to school. Every child must go to school. So it's also a conversation about what is current. Civic obligation. As the Maa people, we have not been exercising our civic obligation, especially with regard to elections. The complaints Somalis had of voting for border counties, Maasai suffered the same. So you find many Maasais do not have IDs. So we are going to say now there is no discrimination for those of us who live in the borders. Everybody must register, and you as Maasai, you must also vote. And vote to have your voice. So it is also a conversation about directing the community into the value that participating in civic obligations, they have that duty as well. But also, history places Maasai at the center of the nation, Kenya. But over time, for lack of education, for lack of important facilities like hospitals, water, for lack of government, because for us government was police the day the cows were stolen. So for us government was danger. To other communities, government is jobs, government is water, government is hospital. So we want now our community to know they have also an obligation to contribute meaningfully to Kenya. We don't want to stay as a peripheral community. We feel that the Maasai must play a bigger role than we are playing now.
Are you tying all of this to the festival?
They are going to be part of the festival. It is a 5-day event. We have our first day, we are talking about youth, the first day. The second day, women.
So are you doing a baraza setup or what?
I hope you'll come and do your news there to see what it is. It is a gathering. Every day we'll be expecting more than 10,000 people. Every day. Of course, not just Maasais only. We have a section for investors because we want to showcase investment opportunities in our counties. But also, our women are going to talk about being women. Why do we hear that in these nomadic communities that the girls' pregnancy is the highest? Where did we lose it? Because it is unacceptable that when it comes to early marriages, oh, Maasai tuko huko. When to come girl-child pregnancies, Maasai tuko huko. It is time we have that conversation and say it is not our space. You know, when fragmentation of land came, the Maasai concept of land was that land was divine from God. It is to be used for grazing our cattle and supporting our livelihood, and it is for all of us. But the New World Order came, that land now belongs to an individual. You have a title deed or a paper that says this is your land. Our people must understand. Our people did not know what it is. They thought that you are given a paper, and you know, if you sell this paper, you make money. But they never took it that they are losing their land. So we are not going to occupy the space of kazi yetu ni kuuza mashamba. That is not our job. You know, we must position our community rightfully to be at the center of the development of Kenya and to become a key cog, as history shows we were a key cog at some point. Before the Mzungu put a knife on the things that held us together, as Chinua Achebe puts it, the Maasai were a very solid community. Our culture put us in a way that everybody respected us. In fact, Thompson described in his book in 1885 that the Maasai are a noble community, but also a dangerous lot. So when Charles Elliot came in as commissioner, which then was the governor or the president of Kenya in that time, he said, one of the first things we must do is to remove this Maasaidom. You know, kill their ceremonies, weaken them, remove them from the center, put them to closed district, then you have Kenya for you. And that is why they even went ahead to brand us collaborators. We were not collaborators. Independence came at a time when the Maasai were terribly weakened. Many Maasai heroes were killed and they were never recorded. Many Maasai bombers were buried alive with the people and it was never captured. Just for them to come and say in the later on, the Maasais were collaborators. How do we become collaborators when we have lost all our land? They come and say, oh, the leader of the Maasai was Lenana. Lenana was not our leader. Lenana was our seer, Lebon, somebody who says predict things. The Maasai is governed through a council. Every age group has a leader. And because of those Rika, there will be many of them. So that council of leaders of age groups become the Maasai governing structure. So when they came and say the Anglo-Maasai agreement, you know, the Lenana agreement, that is all rubbish. It was to blackmail the Maasai because they did not want to confront them, because the Maasais had a structure that had something like the military, the Morans, they had the command center, the elders, and so they would provide the strongest resistance. So to avoid that, they say, oh, you Maasai nation, let us sign an agreement. Oh, we have spoken to your leader. But at the same time, the gun was used to kill so many of them. And so we were never collaborators. We were put that tag, and we must continue to say we were not collaborators, because we were not. You know, yes, we could have had a few sellouts, like every community had theirs, you know, kidogo kidogo, but the person must take his rightful place in modern Kenya. And that is done through education, safeguarding their land, using our culture to advance our good, and also giving us what will be our cash crop, our culture, our livestock, and our wildlife.
Okay.
We are the only community that safely stays with wildlife without fearing. If you bring another community into the wildlife area, they must have guns, they must be fully protected. But a Maasai boy will look after his cows and sheep. The elephants are there, the buffaloes are there, everybody is there. We live with them. We don't fear. We have the order. If you go to a water hole in a national park, animals have order. Elephants take water first, followed by buffaloes. The dik-dik and gazelles will come last. So even us, when we come with our cows, When we see the elephants and the buffaloes, we hold on, kidogo, wanakunywa maji, wanaenda. We bring our cows. And
before
so,
the dicks and the gazelles.
Those must follow us also, you know. And there's no conflict. The natural order in the park, it is us who understands. And why now you are spending so much money in helicopters, in guns, in training, is because you are introducing strangers to our space and alienating us. So those are the conversations we must have so that the Maasai take its right place in the nation Kenya.
So I know you had mentioned Nkipata,
Eunoto, Olngesher.
Yes, which are recognized by UNESCO. Yes.
And President Ruto was given a certificate to that effect to receive it on behalf of the Maasai.
Okay.
And we are very proud that UNESCO has said this intangible aspect of Maasai culture must be safeguarded for future generations, for humanity.
All right.
Not just for ourselves.
Okay, but this is the observation they make, that while the rites still attract relatively sizable crowds, the practice appears to be rapidly declining due to the fast emergence of agriculture as a main source of income, reforms of the land tenure system, and the impact of climate change that affects the survival of cattle. How are you planning to preserve this culture?
You know, by us having that conversation, we are saying this is the third edition. Remember, we said Amboseli was lost because our leaders fought. Amboseli now was given to us back because the three Maa governors, Governor Lati of Samburu, Governor Ndutu of Narok, and myself, through our community orders, took it to our President Ruto to say, look at this history. And Ruto said, I know it. In fact, President Kibaki attempted to do it.
Where do we go to read this history?
But it is part of us. It is our conversation. It is part of us. And that is what our children, we want them to know. In Kajiado County, just to give an example, the importance of culture and values.
This is passed on generation to generation.
Yes. When I come to campaign in Ngong and I come to Kitengela and I talk, the young generation say, wewe mbuyu, kwenda nini, wapi pesa? But when I go to Maasai land and I talk to these people, they know a father is talking, a leader is talking. They must not necessarily vote for me. They will also ask their question genuinely, but very respectfully. We must give our children our values as Africans. Then we'll stop lamenting watoto wa siku hizi. Watoto wa siku hizi is because of parent wa siku hizi. It is the parents that are not giving the children what their values are. If you look at what this Maasai culture is, you will hear from another community, oh, we used to be like this. Oh, it used to be there. Oh, we found it. Why did we lose it? We want to re-engineer it for everybody to copy. And for because even as much as children must be obedient and talk orders and all that, they also have their right. The right to guidance, they have their leadership, the preparation for tomorrow, preparation to be leaders, preparation to be family people, preparation to protect the community, and community livelihoods.
Okay.
I don't agree that agriculture is eating that space. As a county government, we have our spatial planning for Kajiado. Because we recognize if we did not have a spatial plan, Nairobi will make Kajiado one big slum one day. So we did our spatial planning and say, for our urban towns, because we know the future is urban, we set places for human settlement as our urban centers. For our wildlife, we have designated places for wildlife. For our livestock, we have places for livestock. For our agriculture, we have places for agriculture. So we have catered for everybody in this spatial plan, and none should interfere with the others. In fact, in the coming in of Amboseli, the Kilimanjaro areas around Loitoktok, Kimana, and all that will be fenced off from wildlife and from livestock. That become agriculture. The Amboseli plains coming all the way to Namanga will be a roaming space for our livestock and our wildlife. And they should be able to coexist peacefully, and it will bring prosperity because even the wildlife will support the livestock through water, through feedlots, through research, through education, and our livestock will now become our cash crop. You know, we are working on a model to say we can no longer practice pastoralism as a culture and a way of life. Pastoralism must become an enterprise.
Okay.
You know, anchored on three pillars: dairy, meat, hide and skins. Those are the three value chains for our livestock. So now we are moving our community, even in this conversation, to say, huwezi fuga ng'ombe ya kienyeji. It must be a cow. It must be a business. So what cow are you keeping? Ni ya maziwa? This is the breed, and this is the way it should be kept. Ni ya nyama? This is the breed, and this is the way it should be kept. And then now, hatutakuwa tunafuatana tuna ng'ombe, kiangazi imekuja, ng'ombe ya Maasai imejaa Nairobi. Hapana. We are directing our community to remain modern. We are also pushing that the future being urban, they must also go to towns. You see, the administration that followed the Mzungu's administration, they came to Maasai land, take some of our oases and made them urban centers or towns. But at that time, they say, Maasai is our town. So we grew up knowing this is your to a town. So we're just living in the bush. Maasais must come to town. They must take their space in town because the future is urban. Maasai attack education. Those who are haters for Maasai and those who are saboteurs for our community who are benefiting from us.
Okay.
So they push that narrative. We must push back the narrative to say we are going urban, we are going to school, we are going conservation, we are protecting our culture, we will remain Maasai, but we will remain Kenyan. And then we take our rightful space in Kenya.
Mesemata Nairobi ni nyumbani, place of what? Cool water.
Everywhere in this Kenya, because the journey through Maasai land by Joseph Thompson of 1885, the journey through Kenya was all Maasai land. You hear now Nyahururu is a Maasai name for Naururu. You hear Nanyuki, Maasai name for Nanyuki. You hear Nairobi, where you are, Ngariak, Nairobi. You know, Eldoret, Lodenterit, all that was Maasai land. So when the Mzungus displaced us, there was never, we didn't even know because then we were in closed districts. We never knew that Kenya came back.
Okay.
So, as much as historical injustices are there, we are saying that is not our complaint. Our complaint is we look forward. Remember Kwame Nkrumah said, east to west, in the time of the Cold War, we neither look west nor east. We look forward.
All right.
So we don't want to lament too much of what has happened. We must tidy what is going to happen going forward.
And you've said Destination Tuesday, Kimana Gate.
Destination Tuesday, Amboseli.
Amboseli.
You know, Destination Tuesday, Amboseli.
Wapi tunakutana wapi?
Unaanza hapa Nairobi, you know where Amboseli is?
Yes.
So you can turn in Kimana, you can turn in Remito.
Okay.
So directions are very clear.
All right.
And President Ruto is coming there to give us the double celebration, celebrating our culture, celebrating Amboseli.
All right, sawa sawa. Thank you very much for the invite. Umeniambia tukuje tufanye news hapo. I will consult with my boss.
Yes.
I see here as part of the feedback, Sylvia Mutiso saying, I will be there from Tuesday training on quality milk in Kajiado.
Excellent.
Have your say. We'll be reading more of your feedback. The hashtag is Citizen Sunday Live. The X handles are at Obarrows at Citizen TV Kenya. And the SMS line is 22422. We take a break, but Sunday Live continues on the other side. Coming up, 2 Kenyan abductees narrate their 19-month-long ordeal at the hands of Al-Shabaab terror group.
Make your home a signature home. Introducing Lifestyle Steel Stone Coated Roofing Tiles, where roofing excellence is backed by a lifetime guarantee from Mabati Rolling Mills.
Welcome to access to finance and capital that is very key in unlocking impact and growth like what we are reporting in Shamba Pride. It is a big challenge, and EIB has been one of the biggest examples of deploying capital to early stage companies. And I think I really take pride in EIB capital that has really been very key for Shamba to unlock growth of creating jobs internally and also creating jobs to thousands of farmers and agro-dealers we work with across different villages in Kenya.
Flamingo soap, flamingo soap. What do you like to call flamingo? For your beauty and hand washing needs. Flamingo soap. On your glow with flamingo soap.
Teke Teke na Wigo Boda. Chanua Jam, fika on time at the lowest charges in town. Wear helmet and ride in style. Ni safi, ni safe, na ni easy kwa mfuko yako. Wigo, your trusted ride. Download the app now. Ama SMS Wigo to 20425. You'll fike right on time. Wigo, your trusted ride.
Before we said we were Kenya's #1 news app, but we've continued to redefine ourselves into Kenya's #1 app as we sit today. An interesting bit is about the identity of the app, which was developed by young students. We ran a competition in partnership with ISA, Susan Macau, and came up with a logo that is Citizen Digital today, and that was exciting, you know, sort of not creating a product for ourselves, but having our young audiences guide us in how to lead in this space.
Watch this story and more. Download the Citizen Digital app or visit www.citizendigital.com and find the Citizen Originals portal.
Kenya's #1 app, Citizen Digital.
Whenever you fly to space or take your first step as baby, SoftCare always stays with you.
New SoftCare Space Series is rooted from space technology. Keeps you dry and comfortable for 12 hours long. Offers you the most effective protection during your space journey.
SoftCare. Protect your leap.
Nguvu ya safari yetu, nuru ya kujenga na kuangaza nchi. Nuru ya maendeleo, nuru ya ustawi, nuru ya ubunifu.
Dial *977# or download my Power app to access Kenya Power services fast and easy. Kenya Power, nuru ya Kenya.
Wanatimiza ahadi tena, ataitimiza kwa wakati. Nitaimba kwa shukrani.
Ili kupata wimbo wangu wa Atatimiza Ahadi kama Sikiza Tune Yako, bonyeza *860 *413#. Kumbuka, sikiza na Citizen ndio nyumbani kwa wasanii wote.
Welcome to Homelink Mabati Factory, your trusted partner in roofing. We provide high quality and durable products including box profile, V-tile, prime tile and canopy sheets. Enjoy affordable prices, big discounts and 15 years warranty. Call us on 0794 800 000. Homelink Mabati Factory. We promise, we deliver.
Whenever you fly to space or take your first step as baby, SoftCare always stays with you.
New SoftCare Space Series is rooted from space technology. Keeps you dry and comfortable for 12 hours long. Offers you the most effective protection during your space journey.
SoftCare. Protect your leap.
Mwenye anataka kuingia sekta ya kulima, atafute consultant, do your research, afanye something which is going to be productive.
Kama ningejua yeye ni tajiri, ningekuwa nishamtafuta kitambo. Nini mam, nini?
Thank you for staying with us on Sunday Live. ODM leaders have rejected claims that the party will crumble after the death of their leader, the late Raila Odinga. At separate events in Magarini and Kitengela, party officials reassured their supporters that ODM remains strong with leadership firmly in the hands of Raila's loyal followers. In Magarini, they threw their weight behind Harrison Kombe, the party's candidate for the parliamentary seat. Meanwhile, in Kitengela, they worked to further solidify the party's popularity, emphasizing unity in leadership and making it clear that the party's options for the 2027 elections remains open. Melito Letenges with more.
As the countdown begins to the 27th November by-elections in Magarini and 4 other constituencies, political parties are intensifying their campaigns and working to solidify their positions ahead of the vote. In Magarini, ODM's top leadership rallied support for the party's candidate in the by-election, Harrison Kombe, who had his earlier victory nullified by the Supreme Court after a petition was filed by his opponent, Stanley Kenga Karisa.
Wanafiki wakora wengine wakakuja wakasema kura zenu hati nyinyi hamukupigia Kombe ati mlipigia mtu mwingine.
Sisi ni ODM, lakini candidate wetu Harry Kombe anaungwa mkono na chama zote za broad-based.
ODM leaders have dismissed claims that the party will disintegrate following the passing of Raila Odinga. They defended the party structure, insisting that its foundation remains strong and that the leadership is united.
Wengine wanasema ati Oburu sasa miaka zake zimeenda, na sababu gani sasa hii na kuchukua chama ya wazee? Angalieni vile viongozi wa hapa. Abdi Swamad ni kijana au sio kijana? Wanga ni kijana au sio kijana?
Adui yetu sasa hivi ni mmoja peke yake. Let us not lose focus. Tusiwe ni wenye kupelekwa hivi na hivi. Adui yetu ni huyu ambaye kwamba sasa hivi amepatiwa tikiti hapa, sijui DCP, sijui DC nini. Huyo ndo adui mkubwa.
Meanwhile, in Kitengela, ODM Deputy Party Leader Simba Arati held meetings in various parts of the area, culminating in a rally in Kitengela town. Arati emphasized that ODM remains the party to beat in 2027, whether on the ballot alone or as part of a coalition.
Chama chetu cha ODM. Hakuna vile bahari Hindi itatoka Hindi ingie katika mto Tana ama Athi River. Hakuna ama ingie mto Yala ama ingie Lake Victoria. Tutatengeneza serikali katika mwaka wa 2027. Sisi kama chama ama kwa tumeshikana na watu wengine ambao wako na akili kama sisi.
Melita Oletenges, Citizen TV.
Kenya Kwanza leaders, led by Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah, have hit out at the Democracy for the Citizens Party leader Rigathi Gachagua over his remarks over a leadership vacuum in elective posts in Mount Kenya. The leaders accused Gachagua of disrespect and bitterness following his claims that the region's legislators are less educated and easily compromised, saying they were duly elected by the people. They urged Gachagua to move on from his impeachment and stop dividing the Mount Kenya region. The leaders spoke in Thika during a fundraiser for the development of 24 churches.
The bitterness, it is going to consume you. It will consume you. Unasahau mpaka watoto wako ambao unawaita watoto. Achana na hiyo manono. These are your children. Waombe, wish them well.
You don't become personal when it comes to politics. Na hii kuniuzia uoga, kunipigia simu, ukinitumia message ya kwamba nisipokuunga mkono nitaona. Nakwambia my friend, my life is in the hands of God.
Allow us to work for our people. Siasa ni mwaka ujao, tukutane kwa barabara. But for now, let us respect one another. Tuheshimiane.
Wakaona Kawanjiko, hata akiwa mtoto wa single mother, hata ukimdharau namna gani, wakaona he is among the best of their children in Kiambaa.
na wakachagua yeye. So ukirudi kumwonyesha madharau ati umtukane, sio hawa viongozi unatukana wenye wamewachagua. Na nakubaliana na Mama Alice Ng'ang'a. Wacha hasira, wacha chuki, wacha kupiganisha watu.
Two of Kenya's longest-held abductees are asking the government to compensate them 12 years after their release. Yesi Mule and Frederick Wainaina were abducted by the militant Al-Shabaab in 2012 and held for 19 months in captivity. They told Citizen TV's Brenda Wanga about their ordeal and the long search for justice.
Wajir County 2012. For registration officers Yese Mule and Francis Wainaina, it was an ordinary afternoon of dedicated public service in the remote town of Girile. They were helping residents of this area register for their national ID cards, a task that had not taken place for close to 2 decades here. This government undertaking would lead to a harrowing 19-month ordeal. In the afternoon heat of that day, Al-Shabaab struck.
So within that time, overran the police officers that were guarding us, killed several of them, around 7 to 10 got murdered.
Kulala tukaingia chini ya meza hivi. Ndiye mtu mmoja, hiyo sababu moja, akatuona kwa dirisha. Wakati alituona, Mungu ni mwema, hakupiga risasi. Alirudi kwa mlango. Na sisi tukaamuka.
The government badges saved their lives. They were taken hostage. Their destination, Mogadishu, Somalia. The journey was a forced march of terror. Along the way, the Al-Shabaab militants deployed calculated cruelty designed to terrorize both the captives and the local populace.
We were tied on what you call a technical, the pickups, and driven around the town as trophy, as sword trophy. This is the first town where now the locals were really after us. You know, locals became part of the mob justice, literally mobbing us.
But it was in Mogadishu that the real reign of physical, mental and psychological torture began. Locked away in what they describe as safe houses, they were stripped of their clothes and their dignity.
Those chains were permanent for 19 months. So they were basically dog chains. They would chain your leg with a padlock it, then chain both legs again, padlock it, then padlock your leg and chain it with your hand, padlock it. So we had 4 padlocks with us and the chains that were permanent. So those ones we lived with them. And the only time I remember they were removed was when we were doing the videos.
Unajua hapo ile kitu kukulura sana kuguni ndio hizo. Just imagine kuguni, tulikuwa na kuguni na uweze makitu kukuwa na makuguni huko, hakuna kitu akijifunika, kuna nini mnalalia nini, hata unajua miguu kuna kitu paka tukasiko na hii inaitwa arthritis miguu, hata saa hii miguu hii inagada ile hujaona.
For 19 agonizing months, Yese and Francis endured the unimaginable, the uncertainty, the isolation, and the endless fear. Their release finally came after negotiations between the government and the abductors. They returned to their families changed men.
That significant event led, first of all, to my divorce. I mean, I couldn't sustain a marriage, maybe. Because I had a lady who had also undergone her own trauma. And here I was in trauma. So that marriage couldn't last as much as we tried.
Hiyo stress kakuwa mama yangu. Mimi nikuja, nilikuwa naulizwa kaburi. Mama yako, nilikuwa akirudia mama yako alikuwa juu ya wewe. Stress ilimkura paka akaku. Alafu kukaa. Unajua hata Mayaibu naye alipata stress, alikuwa na high blood pressure.
The toll the abduction took on their lives still lingers. For their ordeal, they were awarded Silver Star medals, but they say they have never received this. Yese Mule and Francis Wainaina survived a nightmare.
Lakini tunashukuru Mungu.
Their ordeal is over, but their battle for justice and recognition continues. They wait, not just for compensation, but for the clear message that the sacrifice and service of their country truly mattered. Brenda Wanga, Citizen TV.
Police in Kisii have arrested 2 boda operators over alleged separate defilement cases in Kitutu Chache and Nyamache in Kisii County. One of the suspects, a 34-year-old Julius Onduso Kebwaro, is said to have taken a 10-year-old girl to provide care but turned against her, defiling her and impregnating her. As Franklin Walla reports, the minor is currently recuperating in hospital after delivery.
A disturbing story at Kisii Teaching and Referral Hospital of a minor in need of care. A 10-year-old schoolgirl who is a victim of defilement is recuperating after delivering. 34-year-old Julius Onduso Kebwaro, a man who had taken up the role of a guardian, is said to have sexually molested the minor.
Unapata ni wale watu wenye wako ni kama well-wishers ndio wanadefile hao watoto.
It is alleged the man, a boda rider and chairman at Nyangusu stage, defiled and impregnated the girl. An attempt to have the minor procure an abortion went wrong. She was referred to Kisii Teaching and Referral Hospital, where she underwent a premature cesarean section only for her infant to die few hours later.
Mwanaume alikuwa anakuja jioni kama amelewa, akishafika nyumbani anamuuliza kama amepea watoto chakula. Anamwambia ndio, anamwambia pana waamushe, like anakaa kawe mwenye anamtishia, but huyo mtoto anamwambia watoto wameshiba. Then anamwambia waende na yeye kwa room yake, bedroom, waende kulala na yeye, but mtoto akakataa. Yule mtoto alikuwa anakataa, akawa anaenda kwa room yake, anamforce. Mtoto analia kabisa, but hakuna kitu iliyoifanyika.
In the second case, another suspect, also a boda operator, is currently detained at Mosocho police station after he impregnated a grade 9 candidate. The minor's family say they entrusted the boda operator to be dropping their kid to school only for him to allegedly turn against her.
After nimepata information, nimepata around 2 months ago kwamba msichana wangu ameshika mimba. Nilianza kufuatilia hii kesi ili nione kama mtoto anaweza pata haki. Na mimi kwa kweli sisi nilikuwa natafuta haki sababu nipatiwe pesa pana. Nilikuwa natafuta haki kwa watoto wote wasichana sababu yale wanaozidi kupitia kwa sasa ni magumu.
Both the suspects are in custody awaiting court process. Franklin Walla, Citizen TV.
Kenya's homegrown spirit brand, Chrome, has rewarded its first lucky winners in the nationwide Chomoka consumer promotion, marking 10 years in the market. The ceremony, held at EABL headquarters in Nairobi, saw 2 Nairobi residents, Edwin Miano and Duncan Shumila, each take home 1 million shillings. Other prizes included a laptop, content creation kit, and branded sneakers. While celebrating Chrome's loyal consumers across the country, Senior Brand Manager Zipporah Ndungo said the campaign highlights Kenya's youthful ambition and aims to reward everyday hustlers who embody the Chrome spirit. The promotion invites consumers to buy Chrome.
Nasomea cards jioni. So tulikuwa group work. So wale tulikuwa nao walisikianga maneno and then they were writing the details kuconfirm si kukoniwa na koniwa. So nimepata hii mili, naona itanisaidia sana kulipa fee. Other than fee, naona sasa itanisaidia ninunue machine poa.
Chrome has always been there celebrating the culture and the spirit of people and their hustle. And for us, we see 10 years as being a huge milestone. We are really here to celebrate and reward our consumers, 111,000 of them with different prizes. And we'll set aside a good kitty of 34 million worth of prizes for them to get to celebrate with us as we mark this milestone and to establish and cement ourselves as, you know, we are here and excited to see what the next 10 years will also look like.
All right, that promotion invites consumers to buy Chrome, scratch and send the code to 22110 for a chance to win as part of the ongoing national giveaway. Let's take a look at what's coming up on sports. Gor Mahia's winning run halted by Ulinzi as FC